Okay, that's even more of not what I expected. Hello, creatures, and welcome back to Tears of the Kingdom. I have what I think should be a very simple question. Which way will this move when I activate the fan? Is it going to move forward, or is it going to move backwards? Let's find out. Actually, before we get too far, I wanted to know, leave a comment below, what was the first place that you headed to when you got down from the Great Sky Island? The first place I headed to in my first playthrough was Kakariko Village. Now, I went here because this was the kind of first destination of Breath of the Wild, and not expecting it to change, I went straight here. Turns out, the story, when you're reading correctly, actually pushes you very hard at going towards the Rito Village. So please, I'm very interested to know what your first interaction with the game was. Did you even head to the Lookout Landing? Like, did you just start your journey immediately? Now, the reason that I needed to ask this question is I saw this clip on the internet a week ago now? The game hasn't even been out for that long. I'm already thinking it's been out for months. In this clip specifically, someone got some inspiration from a little-known show called Avatar: The Last Airbender. If any of you know what I'm talking about, it is the Sandbender episode. They are building up this little raft to replicate the Sandbenders, and they actually make one fatal flaw that I think kind of breaks down the whole immersion of the build. They turn the fans backwards. If I'm remembering this correctly, the Sandbenders do a little sand tornado in the middle of their craft, facing towards the sail, putting extra force in that direction. I have a feeling I'm not the only one who thought about this before, because if you think about the interaction here, when the fan faces into the sail, it could potentially create a net zero interaction here. But I also remembered not just Avatar: The Last Airbender as my favorite show, Mythbusters also did an episode on this as well. And it turns out, if we show this little clip here, yeah, it looks like you can actually go forward with real life physics. This feels more like the real life is mimicking some video game element. When they activate this giant fan, at first, what first is happening here, the fan turns on, and then we get a little bit of backwards force. And then it gets caught by the sail, and that should basically equal out to no movement, or I would think backwards movement. But what actually happens here is crazier than real life. Actually, no, it's just as crazy as real life, because it really does happen. And they start moving forward. Now, they don't exactly know what happened here, but my theory as to what's happening here is you'll see the fan making this giant curve here. And I think the fan is overpowering the sail and then causing it to kind of bend in on itself, causing the air to then push backwards. So the sail isn't necessarily creating any forward momentum, but the fan is just so powerful that it's creating a backwards force with how it's hitting the sail. So I think that's what's happening in this Mythbusters episode, specifically. But whatever happens in real life doesn't matter if the devs didn't think about this interaction, or more specifically, the physics engine that they created. If you don't know, when the devs are making these kinds of games, they're limited to whatever the physics engine can do. If you've heard of Unity, Unreal Engine, those all do physics calculations to figure out the interaction between certain objects. And really good games have these kinds of interactions thought out. And in my opinion, Tears of the Kingdom is a pretty good game. So I'm really curious to find out, if we put enough force behind this fan, is it going to catch the air and move forward? It's really all up to the devs now if they thought about this. All right, we've got a perfect net moving backwards. Okay. I didn't think a teeny tiny bit of air over here would actually be a cause of problem. So let's move it just to cross section with the air. Wow, okay, the wind up here is actually pretty bad. We're gonna have a hard time getting a good test example. All right, now or never. Does it move forward or backwards? It's putting pressure. Oh, and it's moving backwards. I was actually very much hoping that would move forward. That would have been really cool. All right, that's actually very interesting. I wonder if we can catch a little bit of forward wind. Will it actually move forwards? So some issues I had up here is actually catching an area that didn't have any wind catching the sail and moving it forward. Because it turns out it will actually just move on its own if I leave it to the nature itself. So we're going to line it up with the wind. Have it start moving forward, preferably. Okay, we need a good strong wind to be at our best possible faking. This is the amount of wind that I wanted, but okay, you know what? Just to confirm, with no wind movement, and now it's gone. With no actual wind movement, no sideways, nothing, it does just move backwards. That is really unfortunate. I was very hopeful that they would have had this little Easter egg interaction. Okay, I think we have enough wind to actually push it in another direction now. Wait, does the wind get less heavy as the day goes on? Come on, they really thought about this little wind and weather system. It's moving. Okay, is it gonna move forward? It's still moving forward. Okay, that's even more of not what I expected. Oh, okay. So maybe we are getting like a net zero and it is actually just catching itself. So if I let the wind catch it and then turn the fan on, it's not moving super fast. Does it? Okay, so now it's overpowering it? Whoops. Hold on. Because the wind is definitely pushing it. When we activate this, it'll then move forward. I guess all options were valid options. Okay, now it's moving backwards. This is not the interaction that I was expecting here. If you were as surprised as I was by the outcome of that, you should probably drop a like on the video. Helps the algorithm out and gets this kind of channel to grow way quicker. But if you want to help me out even more in potentially making some less than ideal financial decisions, I am planning on actually getting a tattoo made for this game. I'm thinking the Ultra Hand sounds awesome. Let me know what you think in the comments about these kinds of ideas specifically. But if you want to help support me financially, make bad financial decisions, go ahead, join the channel, become a member, and make sure to check both of your options there. There's one very reasonable and then one other in which I might be doing something in the future with. Thank you so much for hanging out until this point in the video. Go make your day wonderful, drink your water, and I hope to see all of your creatures in the next one. Bye-bye. I'd love to give a quick shout out to all of the channel members. I'm Afralian, Pasta Luke, Lady9F1, Todd Giron. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. It means everything to me and brings my dream of being a full content creator one step closer. Bye-bye.